Hey friends, it's Jay from Jasmine's Astrology, and today's lunar forecast is a little bit different because we're not looking at a conjunction with the moon, which is what these mini little forecasts have been kind of focused on, the monthly face-to-face meetings, so to speak, that the moon has with each of the planets when they're coming together at the exact same degree of the zodiac. Today, the moon is actually sitting in an opposition with the sun, which means that we have reached our monthly full moon. And because we are in Aquarius season, meaning the sun is traveling through the sign of Aquarius, that puts our moon at Leo, puts our moon in Leo, which means that we have reached the full moon in Leo. And that is happening at 24 degrees at around 8:53 a.m. Eastern. And this full moon looks like it's going to be pretty loud and in our faces about something. Something in our lives feels like it's really ready to come forward and to be more fully expressed, to be verbalized, to be visible. And that's obviously going to have something to do with the Leo part of our chart. The topics of our Leo houses, that's where all of this energy is centered around. And that's the area of life where we are desiring to bring something forward, something into life. And this thing that's really ready to come forward, it might have been something that's been growing and building for quite some time. We might even think back to 6 months ago when we had our last new moon in Leo on August 4th, 2024. And these feelings might have been especially potent over the last few days. This full moon really feels kind of like an exclamation point on the sentence that is this week so far, because the full moon happens on a Wednesday. But leading up to this full moon, Mercury, the sun, and the moon all went through a square aspect with the planet Uranus over in Taurus. And at the time of the full moon, the sun and the moon will be still very much in that square. They are moving away from it, but the energy is still very much lingering and still having an impact on the full moon. And so we might have been feeling some crunchy energy, a little bit of friction, a restlessness, a feeling that there is a need to break free, break away from particular patterns and routines, thought processes, needing to switch up that internal monologue and doing that in favor of doing something different, taking a new direction, looking at something in a new light from a new lens. And it's probably a shift that will lead to more freedom, more autonomy. Even if we're just talking about something to do with like a daily routine, something that you change in your schedule gives you more time for some other activity. And it does come maybe at the cost of whatever you're like, however you're making that time, whatever you're cutting away. So it is probably a shift that feels pretty disruptive, maybe even a little chaotic, not necessarily the most fun. However, maybe we can reframe it to be like, okay, one option is to face the disruption head on, deal with the upheaval and the messiness of moving pieces that are sort of inevitable when we make change, knowing that it's for a purpose, knowing that it's going to, at the very least, lead to a change of pace. Or we can live with the potential regret of never choosing the other path at that fork in the road because it felt too complicated and too turbulent. And that is not a judgment from me. I think that this is a decision that we need to make for ourselves, which one we would rather feel. And some of that deciding, some of those choices might already be made once we get to this full moon because Mercury, the sun, and the moon, as I said, are all moving away from that square with Uranus. But what I love about the full moon happening after those squares have already perfected is that maybe this is about celebrating those decisions. Maybe this is what we're ready to express and what we're ready to share out into the world. Leo energy can very much be about putting on a show and not in a fake way, in a way that celebrates and honors the we are. And regardless of what choice was made, as long as it was the one that brought us closer to our authentic selves, that brought us closer to some sort of core essence within us, that is worth celebrating. Leo is ruled by the sun. The sun gives us life. So there's always something kind of like foundational and existential about strong Leo energy. We are celebrating life. We are witnessing life. We are understanding what even makes us feel alive. What gives us that warmth and that inner fire to keep moving, to keep creating, to stay animated and be more than just, meat inside bones. A full moon really puts things under the spotlight and on display, which isn't always comfortable, but that kind of sight and that illumination can bring so much clarity and understanding. And it can also be incredibly validating. Not everyone wants to live a high profile or high visibility kind of life, but even folks that prefer to stay behind the scenes, they still need and deserve witnessing. Like we all need to be seen in some way, shape, or form. We all deserve acknowledgement, if for nothing else than the very fact that we exist and that our existence is important. It matters. And I think with a Leo full moon, we can take that concept a little bit further as well and sort of contemplate like, what are the areas of life or who are the people or where are the places, what are the projects, where are we feeling undervalued and underappreciated such that we don't feel fully alive? Because Leo has standards. Leo teaches us that we can have standards, that it's not selfish to know I need this level of care and attention or whatever it might be. I need this is my bar. This is what I need. And it's okay to know what we need and then to seek out the communities and the people and the projects and the environments that see and respect that within us. So let's consider who or what or where makes us feel seen, makes us feel like we can be our full selves without judgment. And how might we take steps to move more towards those people and things, spend more time in those places, prioritize them more? And I'm guessing that there's probably something within the decisions that we made or are still in the process of making, the ones that really feel like a bursting out or like a radical departure. There's going to be something within those that make us feel more like ourselves, that bring us closer to that authentic self, that make us feel more fully alive. I think that's really at the core here of this full moon is being able to make moves, make decisions, take action, express ourselves in ways that move us towards that which makes us feel alive and that which makes us feel alive on our own terms, not in the ways that other people might like us to be living. Again, Leo is ruled by the sun, this like collective energy source, but we all have our own personal internal energy source, and we get to decide how is it fueled? How is it used? How is it refueled? And then how do we use that energy and that honesty, right, to show up in ways that matter for our communities, for humanity? Because we do all have our own unique roles to play in disrupting the systems that need dismantling. And I think a full moon in Leo, as we sort of look within and figure out what our own standards are and the authenticity of who we want to be, as we discover that, we realize how we can then use that unique light to spread some warmth into the world. All right, everyone, thanks for watching. Happy full moon. Let me know how this is hitting for you in the comments. And until next time, I'll catch you in the cosmos.